Testing. 1, 2, 3.
One, check one.
Welcome, everybody. Would you please take a seat? Come on in. There's plenty of seats up front. We're not taking a collection today, so it's free. There's plenty of seats up front. We're not taking a collection today, so it's free. Okay, we got one more person coming in and we'll start. Well, welcome everybody, and thank you for being here. We are here today to celebrate Roberta, her time here, her commitment to the Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota, and her passage into a different phase of her life in retirement with her wife, Doreen. And you honor her with your presence here. Thank you. The Planning Committee wishes to thank you for your generosity, which allowed us to have this celebration and to present a hopefully meaningful gift to Roberta, and perhaps with funds left over, a more liquid type gift. But we present these things later in tribute to Roberta. I would like to recognize the Celebration Committee for putting this together. So please stand as I call your name. Jeannie Craig. Where is she? Carolyn Arevalo. Is she here? Vicki Carey. Debbie Lawton, Rick Sandler, and yours truly, and lest I forget, while Mike Brooks was not on the committee per se, he did supply all of the wine. So, and now we're going to start things off with a tribute, a video clip from Reverend Roger Fritz, who served here as our called minister from August of 2011 until March of 2020. He worked closely with Roberta for 9 years. Mr. Roger Fritz.
Roberta, congratulations on your retirement. I remember the first time I met you in January of 2011 at a search committee lunch. I was excited about the prospect of serving the Sarasota Unitarian Universalists. Roberta, congratulations on your retirement. I remember the first time I met you in January of 2011 at a search committee lunch. I was excited about the prospect of serving the Sarasota
Just a moment, please. So, okay, why wouldn't the bicycle stand up? Because it was too tired. What else have I got? Did you hear about the new restaurant on the moon? Good food, no atmosphere. The lady went to the bank to check her balance, so they gave her a shove. Hurry up, Klaus.
Roberta, congratulations on your retirement. I remember the first time I met you in January of 2011 at a search committee lunch. I was excited about the prospect of serving the Sarasota Unitarian Universalists as their minister, so I did my best to make a good impression with everyone, including you. I arrived to serve the congregation in August of 2011. I hoped for the stability of good record keeping when it came to keeping track of the membership, and I found it in your work. I hoped for the stability of good financial records, and I found it in your training as an accountant. I hoped for good supervision of our custodian, and I discovered you knew how to be a good supervisor, and the buildings and grounds were exceptionally clean and maintained. You picked Judy and later Dee to work as administrative assistants, and both were excellent in their work. You understand that in a religious community you are working with volunteers, and you know how to treat them with respect, to thank them constantly and sincerely for their work. You know how to seek the best in everyone. When necessary, you also know how to set limits with volunteers without offending them. Every day I served as the minister to the Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota, I was thankful for your good work. I remember the conversations we had over 9 years. In a congregation, it is critical that the staff work together as a team. We need to share information about members so that we can better serve them. However, at the same time, we need to understand the importance of confidentiality. You understood this. I could trust you. The congregation also trusted you, and this made a difference in the feeling of community among the members. This positive feeling played a critical role in our growth in membership. You modeled caring and respect for the congregation, and they, following your example, acted with caring and respect to each other. Visitors saw this when they came to worship on Sunday morning, and many decided they wanted to be part of this healthy community. I do not take any of this for granted. Thank you. Now, because this is a retirement community, you will find many experts on retirement happy to give you advice as you enter this new chapter in your life. Personally, I have no wisdom on the topic. After 4 years, I am still trying out different approaches to retirement. But knowing you, I am confident that your retirement with Doreen will be wonderful. So from my home in Maryland, I send you my love. And again, Roberta, congratulations on your retirement.
Well, she's actually leaving her position as Director of Finance and Operations, but she is actually going to join our congregation as a member. A number of years ago, we had a policy that staff could not become members. This policy has since been reversed, since Dee and Catherine are both staff now and also members. Roberta, however, did not become a member until now. So Roberta, I know you have observed us UUs for 14 years, but I thought it might be a good time to review this topic. You know you're a UU if you have ever been in an argument over whether breast milk is vegan. When you dress for a formal evening out, you wear a little black dress, pearls, and Birkenstocks, and your wife thinks you look great. You are unsure about the gender of God. The money you sent to the Sierra Club last year was more than you spent on your mother at Christmas. You think the Holy Trinity is reduce, reuse, and recycle. You study the 10 suggestions instead of the 10 commandments. The only time Jesus is mentioned at church is when someone trips or stubs their toe. You think a holy day of obligation is your turn to do coffee. You get mail from committees that you didn't know you were on. Okay, enough of the jokes, and now I'm actually going to get serious. The video you just saw was a tribute, of course, from Roger Fritz. As you know, Roger was our settled minister for 9 years. But there was actually a strong possibility that Roger would not have been our minister if a few things had not happened. In a few minutes, you will hear and see a video from the Reverend Dr. Margaret O'Neal. Many of you will not know who Margaret is or what her relationship to our church is and was, so I will tell you. 15 years ago, I was the president of this church. Oops, we're not supposed to be a church anymore. Whatever. Anyway, Reverend Margaret was our interim minister, and one of her tasks was to prepare the church to be ready for a settled minister. Margaret informed the board that our then staffing model was wholly inadequate and would potentially jeopardize our ability to attract a qualified minister. Margaret recommended that we beef up our administrative staff with special emphasis on someone who could handle finance and operations. After putting together a job description, Margaret and I interviewed a number of candidates. When we met Roberta, we knew that our prayers had been answered. Oh, I'm sorry, we don't pray, we're UUs. Whatever. Anyway, Roberta was then and is now a gift that keeps on giving. Because of her, we were able to attract Roger Fritz, and we were able to grow this congregation. Today you will hear many tributes. I can only say one. Thank you, Roberta. I am grateful for everything you have given us. We will miss you, but knowing that you are returning to us as a member makes my heart glad. I love you.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Margaret O'Neal, and I served the congregation in Sarasota, Florida as your interim minister from 2009 to 2011. And I'm so pleased to be able to offer this congratulations to Roberta as she heads toward retirement after all this time. When I arrived at the Sarasota congregation, we looked at what needed to be done to prepare for the future. And one of the things that they wanted to look at was the staffing pattern and how the staffing pattern could best support the functions of the congregation. And so we created a staffing task force and came up with a new staffing pattern and new position descriptions. We took it to the congregation, and they approved not only the staffing pattern, but also the budget that went to support the more robust staffing pattern, which was simply a joy and an affirmation of the future. So then we posted the position, and when I met Roberta, it was very clear from the very beginning that Roberta was looking for a place to work where she could be truly honored and affirmed for who she was in the world And it was very clear to me that she had the skills and the attitude to serve a Unitarian Universalist congregation. And so Roberta was hired, and we worked through living into the position description. And it warms my heart to know that this working relationship has lasted all this time, and that the congregation has grown and thrived in all the ways that you have grown and thrived. So Roberta, congratulations to you. Well done. And I wish you all the best as you move into your amazing future.
I'm Reverend J. Wolin. I feel shorter for some reason. I don't know why.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Margaret O'Neal, and I serve.
As long as probably all of you. You've probably known her longer than I have. But I did get to work very closely with her the last 21 months. And I can tell you she cares more deeply, or as deeply, if not more, about the UU of Sarasota than every one of our members. She has made my life and my ministry easier. I didn't have to worry about so many aspects of congregational life because I knew Roberta was worrying about all of them and handling everything well, right? She always everything was handled. She would come in and tell me, and that was fine. And you know, I never want to know anything about building and grounds. So, but I can't tell you what a weight that took off of my shoulders. And it is. It's a very important part of this community. You know, I don't know how many people can say this about meetings, but I actually enjoy our weekly meetings. I really do. You know, we could share openly our joys and challenges that we faced, and we had unfettered brainstorming sessions on how to move forward on this or that. And I so appreciated that she didn't hesitate to tell me in her subtle and gentle way that she didn't agree with me on things sometimes. And usually I listened because of her long history and knowledge of this community, and that's not easily replaced. And although not intentional, more often than not, our weekly meetings would include laughter as well. And, you know, I will say, like, I worked hard to try to get her to laugh. And if you hear her laugh, you'll know why. Sorry. And you know, although a very serious person, she does not take herself too seriously. And I mean that as the highest compliment that I can give. You will be greatly missed, both professionally and personally. May you have safe travels on your journeys. May your journey yield many adventures. May you be blessed as you have been a blessing to us. Thank you.
Jay, I said 2 minutes.
This is Charles and Lois Lee, former members and now friends. While we were in Sarasota for 12 years, I was Stewardship Chair, Board of the Trustees Chair, and Chair of the Endowment Board.
I was a member of the Nominating Committee, Chair of Membership, and Co-Chair of See Sarasota and more. We worked closely with Roberta and Roger, it seemed almost daily, and know how important Roberta has been to this church, and we are delighted to be included in your tribute.
Roberta, you were always there on Sunday mornings at all Board of Trustee meetings and available for my personal questions, advice, and conversations all the time. You knew all the comings and goings of the church, as well as all the members and friends. At board meetings, you were always prepared and kept us fiscally informed and on track. Your reports for the annual meeting as I recall, were very succinct and visually understandable. You were always professional, stylishly dressed, and represented the church so very well.
Roberta, you have earned a well-deserved retirement. You will now be able to be a member of this wonderful place you so ably served and do all of the things that you've wanted to do. Our best wishes to you and Doreen as you enjoy to the fullest many happy years of retirement. Give these years the same energy you gave to your work, and what fun you will have.
Hi, Roberta. When I started writing down what I wanted to say to you today, I started with all the reasons why I like you and why I like working with you. But then I thought you're going to hear that a lot today, and probably no use in my repeating it again. So so I kept. So I thought, maybe I could share how you and I are truly motivated by the same three things: doing justice, loving kindness, and needing to track down and capture all the crazy things that are flying around behind the curtain on any given day. But then I thought, is everybody going to think that we're both wound a little too tight? Probably not good. I'm going to try something else. Then I thought, oh, I should warn you. That's what I should do. I should warn you about the jitters, the retirement jitters. The oh my God, I'm not busy, something must be wrong, jitters. You might find yourself feeling a little irritable in a skin crawly kind of way, and it may take weeks to go away. But I thought, why put creepy ideas like that in your head? Friends don't do that. Then I smiled, thinking about you and Doreen having the time to rediscover your love for each other and how love is the answer and blah, blah, blah. You know that better than anybody, and if I started, I would probably put my foot in my mouth. So I finally decided to just say working with you was a hoot. Thank you, Roberta, for giving me and everyone at UU Sarasota the gift of you. It meant a lot, and we owe you a lot. Enjoy your retirement.
felt short up here before. Someone felt short up here before. Do you want to stand next to me, Roberta? That would really be fun. I'm just joking. No, so I was a treasurer when Roberta came, working with Rick on the board and many others when Rick was president, and with Margaret. And it was just such a joy to have you come to the church. And I can't think of too many other people that I think 600 people could say the same thing about you, because you're so professional, you're so consistent in your professional behavior with everyone at the congregation, and we just love you. She's so creative too, you know, that's something nobody brought up, but she got us through COVID financially, which was quite a struggle, so thank you for doing that. And she was always thinking of ways that the church could financially do a little better, but it would still work well with what we are and who we want to be, and it was just really, you're such an important part of the success of this church, and we really appreciate it. And you and I also bonded over our love of animals, and I hope there's some of animals in your future, in your retirement. So that's all. Thanks so much. We love you.
Dale Anderson.
You know, I really loved working with you. It was just a real pleasure. I've worked with a lot of organizations, hospitals, medical groups, and so forth. And one of the things that really impressed me about how you operate is how consistent you are on follow-up of every detail, and the way that you would somehow keep all that going in your mind and know that you needed to follow up with someone. I've truly never seen somebody who is good at that as you are. And what was really interesting is that you would do that on Sunday mornings. So in the courtyard, or before church or after church, you would be out there, and one of the things is you're tall enough that you could scan the whole group. And it was almost like a predator. You know, you would see your target, you know, that you had to go find that person, and you know, let them know what their payment was for a pledge or something, you know. And it was really impressive. And so I'm just at awe with the way that you were able to do that. The other thing is that I was president during the COVID years, and the thing that you really did well was that you connected the safety committee and the board along with Bob Kester, and you kept us in that safe space between too much risk to come together or lack of connection. And that was a year and a half of that, and you kept everybody alive and going, and that was a great contribution to the church. So I just loved working with you, and congratulations.
For those of you who don't know me, and there are probably a lot now, I was a former treasurer of UUSQR and a former treasurer of the endowment fund, and I am now living lavishly in Las Vegas. My name is Dick Happy, and my wife and I were members here for, I think, 24 years. So. And we worked closely with Roberta, both on buildings and grounds and many other things. But very few people know that Roberta's time with us was almost over before she began. At 2 a.m., I think she knows where I'm going with this. At 2 a.m. on a hot and humid summer night, just a few weeks after we'd hired you, my wife and I got a call, I'm not sure why, but from the Sarasota Police Department, get over here now. So we climbed in a car, we lived pretty close, and God came over to the church. What are we? You came over to the, okay. And we found a chaotic scene. There were red and blue lights flashing, 3 or 4 police cars, an ambulance, and Roberta and Doreen. There was a young man to be taken out on a stretcher. There was blood all over the over the Lexo wing. There were paintings smashed in the Lexo wing. It was a chaotic and miserable scene. And we saw Roberta and Doreen there, and we thought, uh-oh, because she literally, I think it was just a few weeks, wasn't it? Yeah. And I'm saying, uh-oh, we're going to lose this woman because this is a disaster here. But as usual with Roberta, she cleaned up the scene. She didn't clean up the blood, but she cleaned up the scene and got all the insurance reports done, the police reports done, and then stayed with us for the next, what is it now, 12 years, 13 years, whatever those years were, and was a tremendous help and assistance to this congregation. So we were relieved when she took took care of the mess, but even more when she stayed with us. As you have heard, Roberta will sing Happy Birthday, but even Happy Birthday in Dutch. Some of you may have heard this, received this, been a target of this. Somewhere in those unpronounceable Dutch lyrics, I think I heard a word that something like hurrah. So I will say hurrah to you, Roberta. Hurrah for doing a great job and changing so many of our own lives. We value you, we love you, and we wish you a great retirement. Thank you.
And I actually think it's time to play that birthday tribute, isn't it, Klaus?
Er is er een jarig, hoera, hoera, daar kun je wel zien dat is zij. Dat vinden wij alle zo prettig, ja, ja, en daarom zingen we bij. Ze leven lang, hoera, hoera, ze leven lang, hoera, hoera, ze leven lang, hoera, hoera. Ze leven lang, hoera, hoera, piep, 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 hoera, many years more.
I personally have been on the receiving end of that tribute a couple times. And I noticed that some of you have straggled in after we actually started. And I just want to tell you, you do not know what you have missed. It'll never be repeated, unfortunately. So I'm going to go off script for a moment and just tell you something about Roberta that you may not know. In fact, I would guess you don't know. I at one point said to Roberta something about Audrey Hepburn. And she says, oh, I know Audrey Hepburn. And I said, well, how's that? And she said, well, you used to come to my house all the time. And I said, really? And she said, yeah. She said, my uncle was her life companion for the last 13 or 14 years of Audrey Hepburn's life. And so a few years goes by, and I have a cousin who is in wardrobe and design in Hollywood. And he tells me one day that he went to Dorstay's 95th birthday party, and that he had run into some people, and that somehow he mentioned Audrey Hepburn, and because he said he'd met this man named Robert Wolder who was her partner. So I called Roberta right away. And I said, what was your uncle's name? And she says, Robert Wolder. So this is Robert Wolder on the screen in front of you. You can see where she gets her good looks from. This scene here is actually from a clip of the TV show Laredo, and he was known for his good looks and his exotic accent. And he went on to appear in many TV shows that you have probably seen. And but I just wanted to, I guess none of you would know that, and I wanted to share that with you. So when I joined here, Rick Sandler was the president of the board, and he heard that I was a Republican, and he assumed I knew something about fundraising. And so I became the chair of the stewardship committee after about 5 months as a member, and this is a great place, isn't it? And so things happened quickly after that. I became a member of the finance committee, and then I went on the board as treasurer working with Julie Leach. And when you're treasurer, you chair the finance committee, and this is a little scary. And so I asked for some time with Roberta and started working with her and met with her. Well, I've been on the board for 10 of the last 12 years, and I've worked with her very closely in that time. And I have to tell you, it's a relationship that I will cherish forever. But when you're working with Roberta, it's tantamount to getting an MBA. Because you get schooled in accounting, you get schooled in business, in procurement, economics, trending, and time management too. And I can tell you how that worked. I'd say, Roberta, I have this idea, and she'd say, Bill, that's a really good idea, but here's what we're going to do. It saved a lot of time. And perhaps her strongest skill is tact. One of the most tactful people I have ever met. And but I thought that this little rundown might be helpful for you. Roberta has been here 14 years, and I estimate that in that time she has sat through 154 finance committee meetings, 154 executive committee meetings, 154 board meetings. So altogether, that is 462 board meetings. So as I mentioned, she's very skillful, very tactful, and she makes others feel very good by saying, I am so glad you asked that question. Or, that's a very good question. Or, I'm glad you brought that up. Or, that's a good idea. But I always wondered, what was she really thinking? I am so glad you asked that question. That's a very good question. I'm glad you brought that up. And that's a good idea. No, there's one more we missed. So I'll read it for you. They made you president again? So now you know why she's retiring at such a young age. I have loved working with her. I love her as a friend, and I look forward to standing alongside her as a member. Roberta, thank you. It has been a pleasure. And now I will turn it over to someone that knows her probably even better than all of us, Dee Widder.
Thank you. It's been a wonderful 14 years knowing Roberta not only as my co-worker, director, but as my good friend. Roberta and Doreen mean a whole lot to me in my life. And as you've heard, Roberta is an extremely diplomatic person. I mean, she can tell you to go screw yourself and you don't even know it. So, picture, please, Klaus. We want to make sure that you don't leave us. We want to make sure that you keep coming back. So, in your honor, we have purchased a chair so that you will have a place to sit every Sunday when you're here. And going along with that is our plaque that will be placed on the chair in appreciation. Roberta C. Drive, Director of Finance and Operations, 2010 to 2024. And Roberta is always devoted to this job. She works 24/7. And for 14 years, I added it up to be 123,000 hours that she devoted to us. So thank you, Roberta. I love you, and I look forward to continuing our relationship.
And now I'd like to ask Roberta to come up.
All I knew was that I had to show up here just a minute or so before 4 o'clock, and that was all. So I didn't know whether to prepare something or not, which, being me, was a little bit hard. I'm incredibly moved by everyone. It's on YouTube, right? I can see it again, right? Thank you for showing up. This is incredible. Thank you all for being here. This is... So I don't know if I have a minute or if I have 5 minutes. Okay. I'm sorry? Okay. So last night I couldn't sleep. I was like a little girl, you know, just before your birthday, right? So I was very excited and already overcome with gratitude for your putting this together. So first of all, thank you. In my wildest dreams, I could not have expected this kind of response to my announcing my retirement. And turned out by so many people and so many emails, cards, whatever. It's just been absolutely amazing, and I have yet to thank most people, and I might not be able to properly thank people until I come back from my trip to Europe. So please know that you will not be forgotten. I will reach out. So I hold all of you in such high regard. So this is very meaningful to me, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around that I have a chair here. I will sit in it a lot. But you can sit in it too, just not at the same time. Okay, and everyone who spoke, I'm just moved beyond belief. And Chopin, Nocturne, oh. Number 2, Opus 9. Beautiful. Beautiful, thank you. And everyone, thank you very much. Well, I do know we ultimately want to go out there, so I'll try to keep it relatively short. And of course, I would like to thank people, and of course, you know I cannot thank everyone right now, because there are just way too many people to thank. So first, I do want to thank, though, Jeannie Craig and her team for putting this together. Vicky Carey, Debbie Lawton, oh, they're all out there. preparing, aren't they? But that's all right because it's being taped, so that's fine. They can look at it afterwards. So, okay, so Carolyn Arevalo, Bill Payton, of course, Rick Sandler, and of course Dick and Diane Happy. They have all done an amazing job. And then I want to thank the ministers, but before I do that, I do want to say that in my many years here, of course, I've grown as a professional, as a leader, yet most importantly, I have grown as a human being who feels treasured and loved and consider many of you friends and even family. So I want to thank the ministers who have spoken today, Margaret O'Neal, Roger Fritz, and then Jay. So Margaret O'Neal, I want to thank her for her tribute and for creating this position so that I could apply for it and, of course, be here for so many years. I want to thank Roger Fritz, and I want to thank Roger for never having me leave his office without making me laugh. That was his aim, and he succeeded. And then, of course, there's Jay. You're right, those meetings are wonderful. I mean, it's so unusual, but each and every one of them have been wonderful. And I will miss you, but we'll stay in touch because we have to. And then there are the board presidents. Rick Sandler. Rick was the board president when I started in 2010, and we've always gotten along very well. And we even both love cats. And I think we both love Doreen as well, so that's kind of nice. And then Charles Lee. Charles and I developed a special bond over time. We had a few things that really made us connect, and I will always be grateful for that. Julie Leach. Now there's a female leader that I've always wanted to emulate. And, oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. You know, I've gotten just a smidgen of you through the years. I mean, you were always able to do everything very unfazed, and I've picked up on that just a little bit, and I'm so pleased with that. But nevertheless, I will always be in awe of you in every which way and everything you do for the church and way beyond. But I have that with all of you because, of course, everyone here does a lot for the congregation and then for the world at large. So, but Julie, I'm in awe of you, always will be. And then Ward Pallotta. Ward's leadership spoke for itself, and one thing that does stand out particularly with Ward was that his compassion following Hurricane Irma. He was very concerned about the well-being of the staff and the congregants, and it really stood out to me, as well as his orange holiday bread that he made each year, and that Doreen took about 80% of, but I always got a little piece of it, so. And then there's Dale. Dale and I developed a very special relationship, and I think particularly because of the pandemic, and we were kind of in emergency mode, and we would be on the phone a lot, and we still can talk very easily, and I've loved working with you. Thank you. And then there's Bill, our board president, again. Which is wonderful. So if I ever were to write a book, no worries. I might write a book, but if I do, it's just for myself. No worries. Really, no worries. No worries. Anyway, if I ever do, Bill would not just be a paragraph. No, Bill would be a couple of chapters, at the very least. I think it's fair to say to know Bill is to love Bill. And I think I speak for all of us here. And then there's Dee Widder. Who doesn't know Dee and all she brings to the table? So Dee was an amazing volunteer, long actually before I started here, but then also since. And then one year in 2018, so not recently, but Dee offered to step in when we needed an administrative assistant after the long tenure of Judy McGrath, who of course did a fabulous job. And we had a little trouble filling that position successfully, and Dee was just going to step in for a little bit. and she's still here. Somehow I'm still able to hold on to her, and I hope you can for a long time to come, because Dee brings so much to the table. So thank you, Dee. Don Bryn, that was blow me away. And also, you are a fantastic pianist, and you're an amazing choir director, music director. I mean, you're so talented. It's a little intimidating, but oh well. You know, I'm glad we're friendly. So Klaus and Doug, of course, for their outstanding work. There are so many people I could really, yes. There are so many people I could thank, but I'm going to stop with the thanking now, other than Dick and Diane Happy. Special shout out to them, of course. Dick and Diane came all the way from Las Vegas. I was going to share, if again, I didn't know if I would be allowed to speak. I had no idea, and my controlling mind thought, just go with it. Not easy to do, but I didn't know if I would be allowed to speak. But if I would have been allowed to speak, I would have brought up when we first all got together that terrible night, or wonderful night, because we spent about 4 hours, probably from about 1:30 till 5:30. And I do have to share that I actually got the glass replaced in the middle of the night. Remember that in the Lexau wing? I don't know how I did it. They came all the way from Tampa, but I thought, gotta do something. I'm the only one here that's getting paid, so I gotta come through. I actually don't think you will be able to do that today, because the world has changed, as we all know. But anyway, so we spent 4 hours together, and we shared many, many stories, and funny stories, sad stories, inappropriate stories. Anyway, we bonded, and strong friendship and solidarity was built that very night. And of course, you've helped in every other which way. And we've got the beautiful garden over there, the happy garden. And, well, I cannot even begin to tell you how much it means that you're here. Where's Diane? Oh, she's probably helping. Of course she is, yes. Okay, well, the one thing I wanted to write down, even though I know it, but I thought about this long and hard. Thank you for giving me hope and trust that humans can make the world a better place. We live in an increasingly isolated world, politically and socially, and it is our connections and our sense of belonging that keeps us strong and sane. Our UU values and principles that we hold so dear are absolutely essential to our holding on to our freedom. Together, we can indeed heal our world. Thank you. I think the world of you. I'm going to be crying all night, but that's all right, because it'll be a happy cry. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So you all know that we're about to go outside and enjoy some refreshments. Obviously, you could see that Roberta's taste runs to classical music. Mine runs more to Western music. So, okay. So I want you to help me sing to the end of this celebration the words that are on the screen. right, please feel free to go outside and then start on the refreshments.